Good drive? Or did you drive or walk?
I drove, you know what, 5, 6, 7 minutes about without traffic. No, that was with traffic. So it was a good drive. If I had messed up there, I got more problems in my hands.
Nice. Jordan, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you.
But I invited you because we were talking about, first of all, how do you introduce yourself? And we were talking about what you've gone through recently, which I'd rather you word it first.
Yeah. I'm Jordan Ver Hoeve. I grew up native California, San Diego. Just total same, dude. Dirt bikes, surfing. Yeah, 619, bro. Yeah, I remember it was always we run 619, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And then I left San Diego, and I was like, it probably sounds more stupid. It probably made, it loses credibility. But grew up in San Diego, sports, football, golf, surprisingly. Weird contrast. The beach, your typical like San Diego dudes.
California.
Yeah, super outgoing. Never inside. And if I I played my video games, but it was always like, let's go to Sunset Cliffs. Let's go here. Let's do this. Played every sport and hobby I could. So that was had amazing high school experience. Then got offered to move to New York to work for 10 months as a model at the time. And then came back and pursued acting and just kind of
living the life, just fucking the dream life.
Exactly. Living as healthy.
A movie.
Seriously, if I always say, and I try not to anymore because I start to compare my current or just moments in my life to my past where I was like, oh, I wish I was like this or like this or like this, and which is not healthy for me.
It's not healthy for anybody.
Yeah, but I had such a good childhood, and even up until 22 years old, things were kind of happening before that, but up until 22, I was the healthiest, fittest, like as surface level as it sounds, I was admired for how I looked, and I booked jobs for how I looked, and you get used to that.
Yeah. You got spoiled.
Yeah.
Which is natural. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what comes with the fucking responsibilities.
Yeah, and I didn't feel entitled. I have a very good mother, put like great morals and values in me always. I didn't expect anything in my life. I just loved life so much, and when opportunity came that was easy, it just felt so good, and I based it off like, oh, it's cool. I have this quality in me that helps me get to places. And then around 18, so that's Jordan, always outgoing. It's still inside of me. But around 18, we started noticing some weird hormonal issues. But I looked okay and I felt okay, but my numbers were off. We're like, oh, maybe it's just a coincidence.
Like your testosterone, or
we had checked my thyroid at the time. Yeah, and it was pretty low. So
what made you check your thyroid? Like you were gaining weight, or you weren't processing food properly, or
I was restricting so much from modeling. I went from like a 200-pound football player in senior year of high school down to like 153 in New York at like 6'2.5".
Because you started dieting and you went extreme.
And it probably tanked my thyroid or all my hormone function. And then of course doctors just want to band-aid things, and like, trust me, I love doctors, they help me. Yeah. But when they want to find a solution, they just tend to supplement and not solve. So at 18, they put me on thyroid to make up for the loss, instead of being like, well, you should maybe gain some weight.
Now, what were you doing, just to understand this better? Mm-hmm. You were limiting all food. You had a crazy diet. You were bulimic, throwing up. Like what, because some people fast for like a week constantly, and that, there's benefits. But, what extreme were you going to?
Over exercise. I'll say it all. Over exercising. I was exercise bulimic. If I would eat too much, I felt like I would have to burn it off, which anyone who knows, like, it's way easier to eat less and lose weight than move more and lose weight.
Right.
I was trying to compensate so much where I would go walk the treadmill for 4 hours, and then a couple hours later I would go on a run. A couple hours later I would go on another run.
Or you would exhaust your body.
Yeah. And then I would binge at night, because I was like, okay, if I'm distracted during the day, I can fit in. I was still under eating, but if I had a big meal, I felt full, but it was probably like I was eating 800 calories a day from a boy.
You probably burned like 2,000, 3,000 calories.
Yeah, and just slowly lost quickly lost the weight, but it got to a point where like that stopped working. And so I just decreased more food, increased more exercise, until it just became a horrible eating disorder. And never bulimic, throwing up, but severe. Wouldn't eat out. Had a girlfriend at the time. Our first dinner with her parents, didn't eat because it wasn't like the right time. So just let food control me so much. And so that started this. I wouldn't say my sickness that I came about later on, but it just definitely started an unhealthy aspect of me mentally and physically. So that was up until I moved back from New York. I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to be healthy. I went up to like 206 pounds from 154. Felt better, but I started looking weird, like almost feminine. Like I was losing like this manliness to me. And come in whenever, because I could just go on and on.
Please. No.
Yeah, I just started,
point.
like I booked this job and I was still pursuing actor, working 3 jobs at a time, in like dabbling in a couple different areas, because I didn't act in high school. I got scouted when I was 17 for modeling. My manager was like, you should try this. I was like, this is dumb. I'm not an actor. And then I fell in love with it. So I was still pursuing acting here. I stopped the modeling, working a bunch of jobs. And then got this little small role, but I noticed like in these photos, I was like super overweight and fat, and that had never been me. And I looked feminine. And so we had...
What do you mean you look feminine? But like how? Like your structure?
I just, you know how like women will gain weight in like their hips, and maybe like
you were retaining like fluids?
Retaining fluid and gaining fat in areas where like women who bear children in the hips and back of the arms, just like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then feminine feature-wise, like I started having this... I don't know how to describe it, and I have photos I'll post to my social or wherever, of just looking like a little feminine, and nothing against that, but for me, I wasn't trying. I wasn't, and just gaining weight in weird areas. And I was like, hey, I know how to diet. I've done it before, which is probably not the best thing for someone with an eating disorder. So I started dieting again. And I forgot to add the fact 18, they did put me on a low dose testosterone because I probably tanked my test and they were just supplementing. So that doesn't help.
Right.
Just like my,
because then that leads into further things where you're not going to produce. You rely on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like my body's going to shut down production. Really, it was just I was so underfed that didn't want to produce anything. So I'd been off and on of it, and I'd come off just trying to rebound, and it slowly was. So I'd lost weight while I was doing this YouTube show that I had booked, like those little brat chicken girl series stuff, and then working a job, lost some weight and got an audition for this project. I had no clue what it was for, and it ended up being a Netflix series regular project, like callback, audition, callback, chem read. Didn't know what it was for still. They hadn't released it. And I booked the lead for a series regular role on this show called Huge in France on Netflix.
Nice.
Best day of my life.
And you didn't even know about it.
I didn't know the project. I didn't know what it was for. And it's so crazy because in between that time, I know it seems like it came quick. I had my trials and tribulations of the expectations of things to come were there, but I was still working my ass off to like pay my bills, just get by. Like I wasn't really booking anything yet, so I wasn't making money from acting. Booked that, quit all my restaurant jobs. Thought that was like this is my career now. I'm in like now I'm in financial services primarily a lot. And so at the time I was wagering between those two, but then I was like acting. Oh, this is it now. I booked it. I'm off to the races. And then we filmed, and between the show coming out, again, all through these 4 years, there was little things that would come up, whether I'd get some eye swelling or just like a weird red rash. And my mom suffers from pituitary disease and lupus. So we always thought like, oh, maybe. And we had checked cortisol levels at 18 and they were through the roof. And we just didn't acknowledge it because I looked okay and felt okay. But at 22-ish, I'd been up and down sick prior with things, but just assuming it was acute sicknesses. After I filmed the show, I started developing like this very strange swelling in my eyes. Like just my orbits were so swollen. I started getting horrible migraines. My vision was going. I just started getting crazy. Just like in a week or two of just from 100%, not even 100, but just like noticing things and then just flipped, like total pivot into these weird symptoms. And then I was like, okay, we'll figure this out. It's just temporary. My show might get renewed for season 2. Everything's okay. I just booked a movie where I looked very strange in the movie as well.
Was that part of the look, or
no? It was part of my sickness.
You didn't even recognize yourself.
Yeah, at that point, I was so insecure, and I I have so many photos because I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? Sorry for the cuss words.
No, you're fucking
Okay.
dick, pussy, snot.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry.
I'm expressing my
joking.
emotions.
We're joking.
So I started looking funky, and I started seeing doctors, and then I was still able to do all my physical stuff. I could work out, and then COVID hit, which was a blessing and a curse for me because leading up to it, I was starting to get to a point where I was in bed about 3 days a week with migraines, and then COVID hit, and I just got so sick from my chronic disease where I was in bed 4 to 5 days a week. My symptoms started getting worse. I started developing severe fat gain without changing anything. I've known my body in and out my whole life on how to lose and gain weight. I was restricting and gaining weight. I blew up to like 236 pounds, hid myself. I was this actor on a show as a good-looking model type person, and now I lost it all, and people shit on me on Instagram, and I posted things, and just like the hate was crazy because it wasn't anything crazy yet, and people were still willing to like be like, dude, something's wrong with you, in like a bad way, not like go get checked. Be like, what happened to this guy? He looked like this, and now he looks like this. And then during COVID, I just got my disease, I think I showed you the photos, and they're on my Instagram. My disease just inflamed, blew up my face, blew up my body. I lost everything that I had, lost my muscle, could barely work out. And that, going back to the San Diego boy in me of being so outgoing, was the hardest thing to cope with because I've always had control in my life of what I could and couldn't do, and that's what made me very tenacious person. This was something I couldn't do anything about, and it was uncontrollable no matter what I did. And that was so frustrating for me, on top of the fact that I lost that part of me that was wanting to see people, wanting to go out. And I got very comfortable being alone because I felt that was best for me. And I was embarrassed and ashamed. And so that went on. And
it's fucking tough, man.
Yeah, I think the tough part too is like I have a lot of regret on not being open in the moment, but you're so emotionally attached to something
it's
so
impossible.
Sabotaging.
It's what we were talking about before we recorded. When you're in that zone, like there's whatever the situation is, it's the worst of the worst. You want to die?
Yeah, literally. I'd gotten really sick, and I would go to bed at night excited to fall asleep so the day was over, and fearing or not wanting to wake up to start the next day. That was my day. I don't want to wake up. I'm excited to go to bed. And there was never a part of me that was suicidal. I know we kind of just jumped a lot, but I'll go straight to it so I can explain. I had a pituitary tumor that was causing Cushing's disease.
Explain those.
Yeah, so cortisol, people are like, oh, I'm stressed, my cortisol's high. And maybe the reference range is 0 to 60 on like a 24-hour urinalysis. Their cortisol might be at like 30 if they're stressed. Mine is, my cortisol is high, so I'm not only stressed, it's actually fatal if you don't treat it. So I like now my tendons, bones, joints have degenerated a lot. I still have a lot of issues lifting joints. I have 3 collapsed discs in my back. Like my wrist will seize
naturally,
up.
not from accident, not from nothing.
This is all part of the cortisol.
Wow.
Yeah. I went to about 4 or 5 blood tests a week, 3 doctor's appointments a week for about 5 years straight.
Fuck, that's tough.
Yeah, through UCLA. Probably more medication trying to it's not one of those things where like, oh, you don't need it. Ibuprofen, like you can work through it. It's like, no,
walk through it. Yeah, walk it off.
No, this is like, I will die if we don't try and manage this, or I just can't. Lowered my seat, my heel, or we just can't. I was
like, what's going on?
I know,
collapsing as we
shorter.
speak.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's the last thing I need. But yeah, just a bunch of doctor's appointments and trying to figure out what was going on with me. Just mentally depressed, physically couldn't do anything. Would look in the mirror every morning and just cry at how disgusted I was in myself, that like what I had become. I had no fault of my own. I didn't justify that. Like I couldn't reason with it.
Well, it's not just what you've become. It's you don't even recognize yourself. You know?
Yeah.
It's like looking in the mirror and you don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
You know,
it was tough to like have so much going for you And then I went into I playing the show didn't get renewed, and I hadn't booked in a while, and it was coming out of COVID, and I was like, my life would have been completely different had this not happened to me. If there is a God, why would he do this to me? If I would freaking get mad at my mom, I would yell at my family because like I just was so emotionally distraught that I wasn't thinking with common sense.
Naturally, of course.
Yeah. So I hung out with like one or two friends. And the only reason one of them was my acting coach, and he kind of like helped me. I couldn't work at the time. He helped me in many ways. He's like been a father figure to me. His name's Tom Draper, great acting coach in Hollywood.
Great name.
Yes, very, very, such a great name, great guy, great coach. He's just was amazing. So it gave me a coping mechanism because I was so ashamed to really go out, express, share with people. And then my buddy Alan, who's a goofball, who I didn't care what you thought. And then my buddies in San Diego, but like you kind of disperse. And then I got a little better. So I was jumping through doctors to doctors. That was long. I feel so bad. I'll tighten it up a little bit, but doctors to doctors, going to UCLA, going everywhere I could, specialists, and just,
let's hold on right there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the process, because you're talking about, the disease came, it's affecting you. You had two people close to you. What were other things that you discovered that helped you get through these moments emotionally? Did you have did you develop the fucking Rubik's Cube, pattern where you just, were obsessed with something, drawing, punching a wall? Like, what did you find that also helped you? I mean, you obviously had family. You were reacting aggressively because you were frustrated. But was there anything like, do you understand? It's okay, man. Take your time.
I kept pushing like my acting so hard. So I stayed in class. And outside of my family, and it's crazy and I'm only going to bring them up slightly.
Take your time, man. You're doing great, by the way. You look amazing, dude.
Thanks, Sid.
I'm proud of you.
It's crazy because I see what you mean. Like, what is your coping mechanism? And I could not find one. I tried to stay in acting, but going to my acting class, jeez.
You want to stop?
No, I'm good. I don't know if you're religious. I think there's like things that happen at the right times in life that you can't really explain.
Yeah.
And this is a person, but it was a person. That was so unique outside of anyone I had met who helped me. I was in such a low space to never would kill myself. That's selfish, but not wanting to live my life every day, miserable. And you could have friends who are like fun, they're bros, but it doesn't fix it at the end of the day, because in that moment, there's a little spark of like I'm having fun with them, but they don't understand. And not that I want them to understand. It was just different. And this
nobody will understand.
Was in my acting class. She's my best friend. Her name's Julia Kerr. And I get so sad because I was so scared to do anything outside of because how I looked and maybe how I acted, because I was so frustrated. One of the most empathetic, articulate, smart, understanding, caring people I've ever met in my life. I love my mom. She reminds me of my mom. And I think it was a time in life that I'm so grateful for that she entered, because I don't know how I would have coped much longer. And she just like set me straight, but was compassionate and caring. It was like, oh, you'll be okay. It's like, yeah, it sucks, but you have to do this. You have to do this. I know you want to give up. This just like a cheerleader for me getting better versus just like, I love my friends who, oh, let's go to the movies. It was like,
yeah, but those are more like little distractions versus
she was
support your rock.
So proactive in my life to helping me get better. And there's nothing that means more to me than the people who truly wanted to help me get better. And so I love the hell out of her. I literally would have, I don't know what like say this is just the hypothetical say, like I could never see her again ran for the rest of my life. I am so grateful for the time God put her in my life.
And the timing.
Yeah, it was like literally at a time when I needed most. I was gonna like quit acting. I didn't know what I was gonna do because I just felt like there was no point or purpose.
Yeah,
just going through the motions. So that was, and then that eventually came to just like slowly nurturing the more happiness and joy
and appreciation.
Yeah, and like even like that's why these moments now I'm so grateful for. I could live in a box and be happy as long as I'm talking to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
kind of a box.
It's a cool box, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man, spaced out. I felt like those the other night with the Glenlivet. I just spaced out there for a sec. Yeah. But and then I had straight to it. I finally got. We took 8 years to find a tumor. I finally met with the pituitary surgeon at Cedars-Sinai. I'd been seeing them for 3 years, kind of following me. Did trial medications, trial drugs, and then he was like, "I think I see a tumor. I think we should do surgery." And I was in there 2 weeks later to have.
And they opened up your head and...
No, I'm lucky. They went through my nose.
Wow, fucking technology.
Dude, he was like literally like that game Operation. He was like, I'm just looking at a monitor and doing wands in your nose.
Oh my God. You know, I tell people all the time, it's like, I mean, two things. Number one, the human body is like the greatest fucking piece of technology in the world, and people are so stupid. They're like, no, it's not. A cell phone's way better. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like the body heals itself and grows and stretches. It's amazing. We have a memory of fucking everything. But the other point is everybody's like technology. And it's like, dude, technology is amazing, but what they're doing in the medical field is fucking insane. You know, one of my best friends, he's the head cancer specialist at UCLA. And I mean, some of these technologies and things that he talks about in treatments, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's
compared
insane.
to 20 years ago, let alone 100 or 1,000 years ago. It's technology in the hospital field. Wow.
It's crazy. And there's like so much, there's only so much a doctor explained to me. It's like there are things at a molecular level that we can't solve. Like we don't have all the answers, but the amount they're advancing yearly would like lead me to believe like someday they'll have like at least an answer to everything.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy.
I mean, I get blown away with like little fun facts of like, you know, there are more stars than there are grains of sand, but a grain of sand has more atoms than there are stars. What the fuck is that? Me,
Robert, I kid you not. The Snapple cap is my favorite. I love Snapple.
Yeah,
just
I
so
haven't
I
had
can read the
Snapple in
fun
so
fact.
long. Yeah.
Oh, I just want the fun facts, but they start to get a little repetitive. But I'm a fun fact freak.
I love those fun facts.
Yeah, I'm loaded with too many weird things.
Even my son right now, he's all into planets. He's 5 years old. He's gonna be 6 next month, and he's like, you know, he's like, Papa, Jupiter's a gas planet. I'm like, yeah. He goes, but you know what that means, right? And I go, what? He goes, there's no solids. It's like a gas planet. You can't land there. I was like, I didn't know this.
I literally just learned from a 5-year-old. I had no clue.
Yeah, I had no clue. And then the other one that I discovered is he goes, Papa, our sun is a star, right? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, and then all the other stars are stars that we can call sun if we wanted to, kind of, right? And I go, yeah. So that means each star has like a planet, you know, a planetarium, like planets are surrounding it. And I was like, I don't think so. And I go, and he goes, I think so. I look it up. Every fucking star has planets. So every star we're looking at it's a sun, and it has, you know, 3 to hundreds of planets surrounding it. Each one, and here we are worried about, you know, what to wear.
Is that I know? Isn't that crazy? And I'm
sorry, not to get off that topic. We're just talking about the fun facts and technology. It's like fucking wild, man.
It fascinates. Trust me, you're not even. I mean, sometimes even going off topic, you just hit my. I'm not some like crazy. I don't even say crazy. Like conspiracy theories are kind of fun to entertain. You don't have to believe them, but you could be like, oh, that's cool. There is no way in regards to what you just said. I'm like, we're not alone. This is
It's just mathematically,
Yeah.
it's impossible. Mathematically, you're talking about billions and billions. That was another fun fact that I discovered. There are different sizes of infinity.
Oh, I don't see it. You just
What
lost
the
me.
fuck?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, so infinite's infinite, right?
Yeah.
But there are some infinites that started before other infinites, and those infinites are bigger than those.
See, that's what's so crazy to me. I don't even know. We are such a small piece of time in the grand scheme of things.
We're nothing.
Yeah, we're nothing.
We're nothing. But we lose our mind for everything.
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
Turn on the news.
I want to jump back on
Yeah.
In the beginning where like the female, like you know, because you said, hey, I started gaining weight in weird places, I started retaining water. It's like a female would retain water, this, that. Did you ever find out what that was, or you just went into diet and it went away and you kind of avoided that?
Severe low testosterone.
Oh, that yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
At like 21 years old, I started losing like my manly hormonal.
Got it. Yeah, you said that, but I
aspect.
didn't link it if that was the cause, you know, because we went into diet, so it was lack of the
Yeah, my
testosterone.
testosterone went to like the level of like less than a girl's.
Mm.
So it probably so quickly. That's what.
So right now, you have to be on continuous like TRT, right? Testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah. No. And there's been times where I've had to go on and off, and the goal is to not be on for the sake of I do want to have a family someday. Right. So we're working on like the natural ways to get your testosterone back at your clomiphene, let the body's natural process start back up is the goal.
What's been recommended, and what are certain things that men can practice, like certain foods, certain diets, certain like I hear everybody says it, but I've never really researched it. Do legs, working out your legs helps testosterone. I don't know. Everybody says it, but I never. Jamie, pull it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know, right?
I wish. Francisco.
We can put it in the edit.
Yeah.
I know. Well, that's what people. I grew up. My first job was their licensing of anything. I've tried and done so many things because I just like to learn a lot. Was being a personal trainer, so I was all into the bodybuilding. I wasn't that big, but it was always hit squats to raise your testosterone. I think it just comes down to like usually if you're healthy, you live a good life in terms of like eating wise, and you maintain like a steady body level with activity. Those men tend to have higher testosterone levels unless they're medically debilitated. But they do studies in Africa where these dudes are not anything, and they're like 6x what our average is here. And they keep lowering it every year. So I think it's like a whole compounding thing. It's
but that there's a lot of explanation for that. You're talking about food, and you're not taking all the chemicals we're in, lifestyle. They're constantly building, working out, fixing, running, walking. They're doing a bunch of shit.
And that can also do the opposite. You could be stressing your body so much to where you're not producing as much testosterone. If you're dieting too hard and working too hard, your body's like, I don't want to have kids.
Yeah,
I'm not going to make this. But it's basically either gain weight if you're underweight, lose weight if you're overweight, get your common sense exercise in. And if you have a disease that causes it to be low, or you just naturally are low, don't supplement testosterone first. Get on your Clomid or Nolvadex, see if there's a urologist or endocrinologist can help you get them up naturally before you resort to supplementing testosterone, which is also unhealthy to have low testosterone. So
right, you got to find that balance.
Yeah, but try every natural remedy before you have to go supplement. Because my issue was we went straight to supplementing TRT, and at 18, 19 years old, and you shut down your endocrine system. Yeah.
Yeah. They recommend that after 40, 45?
Yeah, 40, get it checked. I mean, I think
again, if you're if you medically need it, you start sooner, but.
Yeah, so I'm sure it probably, I've had a lot of friends, even at 28, 30 years old, who are like, God, I feel so down. And like, not doing anything crazy, went and got checked and were so low. They got on in a few weeks. They're like, I feel great.
Yeah. Yeah, I've contemplated on taking it, just because I fucking work out. I mean, recently I've been working out all right, but I work out a lot. And I'm like, how come I'm not fucking, And then I'm like, and I start asking the people in the gym, like, what are you doing, bro? He's like, steroids. I'm like, duh. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, fucking, TRT. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like, everybody's getting these amazing results. And I want to do it for the result aspect, but like, everybody's like, don't do it right now. First of all, you don't need it. Second of all, you're fine. You're just,
Yeah,
whatever.
I'd hold off as long as possible because it's like once you're on,
That's
you're
the thing.
on.
Yeah, and I'm so bad. Like I barely commit to supplement. Like I buy protein shake, like a 30-day supply. That thing lasts me 2 years. You know, I'm trying right now. Recently, I just started taking creatine. I think I did 4 days in a row, and now it's been like 3 days I haven't taken it. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, you have to use these things constantly. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got so used to taking stuff that it was like, it became this like brushing my teeth or putting my seatbelt on.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even think, you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes it does that.
Yeah,
It's that I brain fuck myself, you know, because then I start worrying like, oh man, if I drink a lot of water, like all I drink is water and coffee, so I drink a lot of water, but if I take creatine, I got to drink more water, and if I don't drink water, I'm gonna get kidney stones. I don't want fucking kidney stones. I've never had kidney stones, and fuck this, and I'm not gonna. If I'm doing the protein shake and the creatine, I'm definitely gonna get kidney stones, and I'm like. I jinx myself. And I'm like, whatever, put it away.
Yeah, no, I get the same, or I'm just like, do I need this? Do I need to spend money on this, or can I put this towards something else?
Yeah,
but that's also like the advisor side of me, like weighing my expenses and versus my needs.
What are back to what you went through? Like what are, obviously you're so appreciative and you love life and everything else, but what are like the main. What changed from before when you had no idea this existed to now? And what were some of the takeaways of this process? And what kind of advice would you give anybody that goes through anything in life? It doesn't even have to be this severe, you know, just anything.
I would say your lowest low, like however low you feel is like the lowest you'll feel in that moment. There's ways to get out of it. I've said it before, like I don't care if you're told by a doctor you have a year to live, you better make that year fucking awesome. Like, because, and there are people out there for support. I got so low to a point where I didn't want anyone near me. I didn't want to be open about it. I was so shameful and embarrassed. And then I got to that point of when I wanted to open up, because people were like, where did you go? This was recent, 2 months ago, being like, this is where I've been. And I've had best friends reach out to me saying I had no clue. And then I've had also people reach out to me saying, oh my gosh, I'm glad you shared this. I've been stuck in this for so long, and it gave me some hope. So I think the expression of it is like very important, not limiting yourself. It's almost like going to the gym. If like an overweight, embarrassed person is at the gym doing something wrong on the stairs or whatever, and they're embarrassing themselves, I respect the hell out of the person more than them sitting on the couch at home being lazy and hiding it. So I think just like your freedom of expression for your own sake and mental health is so important. Taught me to big time. I think we all kind of judge a book by its cover in some form. If someone like, not that it justifies being rude, but if someone's like kind of rude to you at first, you're like, oh, that person's a dick, or right. I will give anyone benefit of the doubt now. Like if you're having I don't know what your life is like. Your mom could have just died. I will be as like,
yeah, you could be driving in the car in front of you is driving slow, and you're like, fuck you, beep, 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 beep. You don't know what the fuck happened. The guy's wife cheated on him, fucking whatever. The mom died. You have no idea.
So that plays into my actions now. I'm selfishly selfless. I like that. Yeah, I want to give as much as I can, whether it be emotionally, physically, I just want to give. For one, it makes me happy. Like, that's the selfish part. It makes me happy to be selfless. So I think the relationship side of life is so important. We live in LA where there's a lot of status, there's a lot of cliche, there's a lot of surface level. Like,
there's no human touch here. It seems like there's not. Like, I'll give you 2 examples, and I've given this example before on the podcast. But you know, if somebody breaks down, nobody's gonna stop. Nobody cares. 0 fucks given, and it's kind of understandable because, number one, everybody's in their own fucking world. Number 2, it's California. If you're on the side of the road in California, like, enjoy the view. You know, it's a break. You know what I mean? Where if you go to like other states where it's like death, if you're on the side of the road, where if you're you know, Palm Springs in the desert or whatever, Cathedral City or whatever and everybody stops because that's a life-death situation. In LA, it's not a life-death situation. AAA will be there pretty soon. The LA Fire Department's going to be there, but it is pretty ridiculous. I was involved in a crazy motorcycle accident 4 weeks ago.
I was going to ask you some motorcycle questions, actually.
Yeah. And this guy just hit my bars, and I had a passenger and everything, and we flipped at 7 a.m. on the 118 going to the 405, and it looked like a Transformers movie. My bike flipped, boom, 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 boom. I'm sliding. Oh, my passenger sliding, and it's 7 a.m. So the 118 to the 405 cars are just boom, 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 boom. Nobody stopped. Luckily, nobody hit us. Luckily, there was, we're road rash, whatever, and that's it. Thank goodness. But I couldn't believe it. Nobody fucking stopped. And about 30 minutes later, our phones are damaged. We couldn't even call the police. And about like 30 minutes later, a random paramedic, a Los Angeles Fire Department paramedic, passed us and then saw us and pulled over and then reversed to us. They went out of their way, but that's just because that's their job.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm surprised they weren't like, I'm fucking hungry. Let's go.
Isn't it weird? I have like so many, and that goes back to the people are always in a rush. People got to do what they have to do.
Right.
Oh man, it feels so good just to pull over and help that person. And once you get that taste, I'm sure it would change a lot of people's minds. They're just like, okay, you know what? One day I'm just gonna like do something for others. I'm gonna go volunteer for the day just to try it. And it's like you lose. Like I don't care what my social media is doing today. And I have friends who are big influencers who are so attached with joy to the number they see and so sad outside of their social media because that's their reliance. And it's like once that's gone, what do you have? And so I think I was in that position, and that's what being really sick, losing everything, losing my physical, losing my ability to like talk and express was one of the worst things that ever happened to me. And now that I'm so appreciative for moments like this and going out and just like willing to talk to people, and because I don't care, like I want to talk to people. Yeah. What are you gonna say? No, I don't want to talk to you. Cool, and I'll go to the next person. Yeah, talk to me just to like listen more. We always want to project and say what we have to say, and I just like to listen.
That's so important because I think people already assume what people are going to say, and then they never just even ask. Like, I'm going to ask that, girl, whatever, I'm going to talk to that guy, but they're going to say no, so I'm not even going to ask. And they close themselves on that line. Interesting question. At your lowest low, right now, if you were able to talk to yourself then, what would you tell yourself?
Wow, no one's ever asked me that. It's because I think I never wanted to believe anything. I was so stubborn in that moment. If I could talk to myself now.
At that lowest low.
That's so crazy because at that point I was living for my family, not for myself. So like the only thing I'm trying to think what would get me through that, because what was getting me through that right now was not me. It was the people I loved. It was the selfishness to take me away from my mom, from my nephew who had just been born a year before that. I would tell myself, I don't know whether to be like, Jordan, you need to shape the fuck up, and because this is going to be over, or be empathetic and caring towards myself.
Right now, how would you treat yourself in that situation? You know how you would do it right now.
I'd probably be my goofy self, crack some jokes, and be like, have a heart-to-heart connection. And I would probably tell myself, I really wanted to give up, and as simple as like not giving up sounds, and just to instill so much trust in myself that things will get better. And it may not be now, it may not be tomorrow, but I promise you, like if you just, and I've always been a believer of this, if you just put your head down and focus on getting better, and like not only love the people that you're living for, but love yourself, because that's important. And I've learned that after getting sick, how important that is. I would look like anyone else, look at myself. I used to look in the mirror and just shame myself. I would look myself in the mirror and literally like tell myself, affirm myself, like it will get fucking better, dude. You need to pick your fucking head up because this isn't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like tomorrow's not promised, and today's today, and you can't dread on yesterday. So, okay, what are you going to go back and make yourself look skinnier? But like, no, this is your situation, and you're going to get better. But you have to believe it, and I completely agree. And I
make it, yeah.
Yeah.
You make it.
I'm that person who needs like a little football coach energy for sure.
Yeah, we all do.
Be resilient.
We all do.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is, I think it was Bruce Lee. He goes, "Be careful what you tell your body. It doesn't know you're joking."
It's funny because it reminds me of something I say to myself when I was so sick. People would be like, "Oh, I have the flu," and I'd be like, "Don't say that. I might catch it." Like,
Yeah.
just by saying.
Yeah, just if you say it. It's
Yeah,
true.
and it's true. The placebo effect and mental game is crazy. I read this book, Brain Over Binge, or like Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
Probably Power of Habit's a better one. Brain Over Binge is an eating one, but it gives you perspective on how powerful the brain is, but how to overcome those objections it gives you. Shameless plug. It's really good, and they really help me. And Power of Habit is a really good book by Charles Duhigg that just totally changes your perspective, because we need a friend or some sort of outsider's perspective. Like in my work now, the best thing I love is collaborating, because both sides learn. And I think 2 brains, 3 brains, 4 brains, because when you sit by yourself, you could think whatever.
Oh my God, it's so dark.
Yeah.
It's so dark. It's interesting. I was watching a guy, again, it was a reel or something. And this guy was like, "All right, no, everybody keep their mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. Quietly scream." I forget what he screamed, but he's like, quietly scream, Sprinter van. And everybody's just like, and he goes, "Who the fuck just said that in your head?"
Whoa. Whoa, that's pretty crazy.
Who fucking said that in your head?
That was weird. I had like a little, I was thinking, and then I was like, whoa.
Who is that motherfucker in your head? And you have to battle that motherfucker, because that guy's a fucking dick.
Yeah, that's fun.
That guy's a dick. Any way you want to close this off? You want to put your Instagram share? You want to share anything or message? Or
I mean, what?
No matter where you go, there you are. Like.
Yeah. What am I gonna tell myself again? And looking back, sure, I'll put my socials in case people want to follow my train, because now I'm being more transparent about it.
Which is fucking brave.
Yeah, it's crazy how my life has, like, how this is, where this has taken me. I think I became more appreciative. I'll make this quick. I was appreciative of that, a little bit of that status. I'm an actor. Oh, I'm this. And then I went through that, and it showed me that my happiness lies more in the security of what I want my future to look like for my family, that I want to have for myself, for my mom. So it opened doors for me that I never thought I'd be in, and just changed my perspective on happiness so much. So my point is like, I have a lot of different things going on in my life now that are really cool. So if you want to follow them, I'm trying to do like as much as I can, because I couldn't do anything for so long. Now I'm like a dry sponge trying to soak everything up.
Maximize them.
Yeah, literally as much as I can. So my social is Jordan Ver Hoeve _official on Instagram. It's really, I have a Facebook, but that's like where
but Instagram's
mom and grandma checks in. Yeah, I don't have X, Twitter. I don't have any of that. Don't have TikTok yet at all either, because that's just a bad I have habitual addictions, so I can't get to TikTok, or else I'll just.
I have something that works for me on that. You know what works for me on that?
Who?
What works for me for TikTok to keep my addiction low is I could only look at TikTok feeds when I'm on the Stairmaster.
That's a good
30 minutes goes like this, dude. You're like,
yep.
Wow.
That's true.
And then when you're done, you're done.
That's true. It's like working out with a buddy. It's like, oh, that cardio wasn't too bad because I spoke to someone. Yeah, I don't think. No, nothing crazy. Unless you have one final question for me. I just literally, it's so simple as it sounds. Like, just be appreciative, enjoy life, because at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Didn't get this like I'm like a fate believer now. Like, things happen for a reason, they lead to something maybe better. So just stress less and enjoy life, because if you look at it from the outside perspective, maybe they need to ask themselves what you asked me. What would you tell yourself from like an outsider's perspective? Don't be afraid to, you just said it, ask for help.
Yeah,
it's important.
I think that's the big one.
Yeah,
I think that's the big one. I think people I know people going through some shit right now. And it's like, they'll kind of tell me, but they're just telling me to like talk. And then they're like, "Don't tell nobody, please, 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 please." I'm like, dude, there's a lot of people we know that can help you out with that situation. Like, I don't know why you're not asking. No, you don't understand. But when you're in that zone, you can't tell anybody anything.
Yeah, it's crazy. The brain, like, again, the brain. It's powerful. You can tell it whatever you want to tell it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jordan.
Dude,
Appreciate
I
you, man.
appreciate you. Just also like outside of this, like I'm so grateful for this opportunity, but immediately that night, I'm like just grateful for meeting you, dude, because like these moments are
Dude,
what I'm living for now.
I've been out maybe less than 10 times in like 5, 6, 7 years, dude. Like I've been raising a fucking kid on my own. So
Good timing for both of us.
yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah, you're a great person.
You are too, man. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks, Roberto.
You're welcome, brother.